Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Hopefully, you're doing well. We're almost through this month, and I thought that this would just be a wonderful opportunity to meet together and to set intentions for the month ahead before I get into all the next series of monthly readings. Little sleepyhead Apollo here is also with us to kick things off. Welcome to the new moon and new month reading. Let me put down my assistant here and let's talk a little bit. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. You'll notice today that I did a couple of different things with respect to chat. Basically, Maria is no longer going to be able to help us just due to some health situations. So I'm going to be looking for a new moderator. That'll be one thing. Dakota will still be with me on the weekend, but when I'm doing the weekly ones, I'm probably going to limit the frequency of how often you can chat until I find another moderator. So thank you for being flexible while I'm looking for a replacement moderator. And in fact, I'll give you a link in case you have experience. You can go to my website and take a look at this. I'm only looking for people that have actually been a moderator on YouTube or on Twitch before, and you need previous experience just because this is a lot and it's important. So if you don't have experience, get some experience and come back and let me know. But right now, we'll figure things out. So thank you for being flexible. Today's going to be a really important day because we have a chance now to tap into new moon energy. And with this new moon energy, it's really kind of magical for manifestation. And I'll be talking about it here in a moment when we look at our slides and the channel messages. But what you feel, what you think, you can actually go either way when you're manifesting. So you can either kind of go down that rabbit hole of worst case scenario, right? Or sometimes thinking about like reaching to the moon and back and wonderful things start to come through. So I really want to help us release any of the old stuff and focus on positive, affirmative, creative sort of energies for today, because that's really what this new moon is about. Today's format's going to be different. I'm really going to just go with the flow of energy. We'll look at our channel messages at the beginning. I actually saw like not a wolf per se, but kind of like a hybrid dog that I was seeing as I was driving yesterday, probably like a husky. It just reminded me of a wolf, and I really wanted to talk about the wolf energy, and it also connects with the moon. So those are the two totems today. We'll be looking at the moon and the wolf, and just talking about how to really be open to what's coming through. Okay, I think what I'm going to do today after we do the channel messages is I'd like to look at the Celtic cross just to see what the energy of the new moon is bringing forth. And then we'll be very free. Maybe I will look at something that I see. We'll kind of do an extended readers and viewers choice where I look at some of the things that you're talking about. And I also think about some of the things that I'm seeing, feeling, or kind of that's coming through. And we'll just let it be a very open, fluid session today. So this will be kind of like a mix between a collective and an impromptu. A little bit more structure than an impromptu, but a lot more fluid than a collective. Okay? So let's get into the channel messages. Again, channel messages are a chance for me to connect directly with guides. And one of the key things that's been coming through is transformation. We actually have a few angels of transformation. One of them is Azrael, Zerachiel. There's a lot of different ones, but death or transformation is definitely a big part of this particular portal that I'm picking up on. And I think that if we can kind of embrace change and move with that energy of change, then this is going to be an amazing month. So that's also like a third totem, would just be sort of that, the energy of transformation, if you will. Okay, let me get the slide set up and we'll talk about what I'm seeing, and then we'll get into today's reading, which, like I said, is going to be very fluid and hopefully very fun for everybody present. All right, so new moon and the wolf. These are the two things that we're going to be looking at. New moons, to me, just like you see here, it's like a big old ace of pentacles. It's a chance to plant a seed, to tap into your creative side. If you happen to be in a climate where it's warm enough to get your hands in the soil and plant something, or do some gardening, or just take a walk, get outside, the grounding energy is going to definitely help you. One thing that you can also do as you're starting to step into new things in this month ahead, it's really nice that we're doing this right before April hits, is give yourself credit to you don't have to do it overnight. The most important thing sometimes for us to kind of wrap our head around is just that moment, the epiphany. This is what I want, or this is what I don't want, right? If you can really ease into that energy and that understanding, then I believe anything is possible. And I think that if you can just allow for that seed to be planted without also going into the feeling of, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, etc., then you really just give it a chance to grow. So we want to water it with kindness and with love and with a lot of light, right? So that's what we're going to look at here. It's a portal, and you are basically the high priestess during this period. So stay hopeful, stay open, and create space. Like a garden, you can put whatever you want in that. And we're going to talk about the next one, which is just as important. Just because you don't see something doesn't mean that it's not there. That's actually where the things that we just talked about, hope and faith, is really, really important, right? So hold the space for it. Your path, which is what I was showing you, could be a lot different from someone else's. So visualize it first, and then basically execute on that visualization. That's the important thing. If we look at people that are really successful at dealing with things that haven't happened, like an athlete, and they're really focusing on trying to manifest getting to the medal stand or something like that, or finishing in the fastest time or whatever. It hasn't happened, and there's no guarantee that it will, but they believe that it will. The belief and the hope sets in motion energy that allows for all these doors and windows to open. They have to just then keep showing up with that intention and with that work ethic. So you could put the high priestess in this case with the 8 of Pentacles. See it and then do the work. And keep doing the work even when you're not seeing everything coming together. Writers, artists, I would even say scientists, also chase down that intuitive hunch where it's like, I think I know what I can do something really exciting with this. If I can just explore a little bit more, okay? And then when we try to compare ourselves to others, that's where it can kind of go wrong sometimes. So the path to manifestation can be a winding one. Enjoy the journey. Easier said than done, but what this is really reminding you is that it's so important for you to make the most of every moment. Because I kind of, in this first bullet, talked about success, achievement, completion, even just sort of like people applauding you or whatever. Yeah, that's nice, but they're just points. That rich experience of going through this journey, which we see on the moon card here, the winding path, sometimes it's a winding river, that's where the growth happens, that's where the fun happens. And oftentimes in retrospect, the pinnacle moments are anticlimactic because there was so much buildup that almost nothing could kind of meet that expectation. So you realize it's all together that you take this experience. It's not just that standing on the medal stand or getting the promotion or whatever it is that you're trying to work up to. Comparing yourself, which we would often see in the 4 of Cups, can also not be very helpful here. So you might have a parent, friend, brother, sister, whatever, that is getting things faster than you. That could just mean that they had less karma, that they're better at manifesting. It doesn't mean that anything's wrong with your path. It just means your path is your path. So maximize each step of the journey. And you might also be at this point where you're just not wanting to conform, because this moon card, which I showed here, is really about sometimes bucking the trend and deciding to be your own person, your own voice. And there could be temptation, there could be something else coming through that could make it a little bit difficult for you to deal with all of that. So change is our friend this month. And although the Death card can look scary, it really is just a beacon of hope and change and movement. I mentioned here, because we're looking at wolves and I like to interweave facts with it. They don't really stand that tall, but they are long. So if we were to put them upright, they would be as tall as, or taller than many of us, and they can sprint pretty quickly. So if you're willing to stand up and move into this energy of change, then speed is going to be a part of this. You're going to notice that you can manifest, you can see things happen, and whether you like it or not, it feels like the energy of transformation is around you. So why not join that sort of force? And really, I kind of sometimes like to equate it to surfing, even though I'm not a surfer. You can either kind of like go straight into the wave and crash, or you can ride the wave of change and end up on the shore and have a good time doing it. So surf through the energy of transformation, and it could be a fun, maybe a wild ride, but a fun ride too. The turning point that you're at could just be a new beginning too. So I thought it would be appropriate to follow the Death card with the Fool here. So you might find yourself at a precipice or a new beginning. What you've been conditioned to do may not have felt authentic, and if that's the case, it's time to take that leap of faith and try this sort of new path or new experience that's coming through. Give yourself time. Get acclimated to what's going on. One thing as I was researching the wolves was I noticed that they eat their whole meal like all at once. There can be merit to sort of digging in and surrendering to a task or immersing yourself into something. But if you do it too long or too quickly, it can sometimes be discombobulating. You're like, where am I? What's going on? How am I going to manage this? So I brought this sort of exploration and confusion that can be a part of the Seven of Cups. So I think taking little bite-sized pieces, something we talked about in a recent reading, could be really advantageous here. Again, surrendering to the larger call, which is something that I looked at in a recent collective, I think could be really good. But as you surrender to the call, you also realize that it doesn't mean you have to change overnight. Change is slow. The kind of sustainable change, anyway, I would say is slow. So give yourself time, okay? And that, my friends, is everything that we have to look at there. So a couple of quick notes again, since I'm playing both host and moderator today. If you like what you see, well, first of all, if you want to be able to join the chat today, you're going to have to subscribe. This is my way of just making sure that I can keep an eye on chat, make sure everything's going well. So I'm going to do subscriber-only chat. And I think it's also a great encouragement because chatting's a privilege. If you like what you see, subscribe and join. Now, I don't have to say that as much. It's just a way for you to engage in chat. And if you would like to get some reminders of when I do special readings like this or when my new schedule's up, etc., please give me a follow on social media. I believe I put that in the pinned link up above. So it's at Nicholas Ashbaugh on most platforms and Ashbaugh on Twitter. Quick warning about like Instagram. A lot of times people will steal photos and pretend to be me. So look at the spelling of my name. And when you're in doubt, go straight to my website or onto the About page here on YouTube. And you can click on those official links, okay? I'm never going to directly reach out to any of you, and I'm not going to ask for anything. So there's a lot of people that do that. You know, it's not me. If you would like to show support, here's how you do it. You can do a super sticker, super chat. Again, Maria's not here to say thank you in the moment today, but I will be here at the end to say thanks. So stick around and I'll acknowledge everyone at the end. And the schedule isn't yet up for the next month, but I should be putting that up by tomorrow. Aries reading is already scheduled for tomorrow, so you can set the reminder. There's a lot going on in my life at the moment too, so thank you for being patient as I get all of that together. All right, so we're going to now move into the Celtic Cross today. And let's just sort of see what energies come through. I've picked some decks that I want to work with. I just used the Sun and Moon, so I have it handy, but it's not going to be the first deck that I use. I actually think I want to use the Tarot of St. Croix, just because it has some beautiful imagery on it and it's calling to me. So we're going to move with that today. And let me just get everything focused and set up. And we're going to see, here's the intention that I'm going to set as I pull the cards here. I want to look at what's available to the collective that's joining in today. What can you tap into? What should you be paying attention to? Because the energy of transformation is present, what also might be falling out? And then as we kind of take a look at this overarching spread, we'll see some trends and then we'll dig deeper. And maybe instead of doing the traditional blessings and blocks and viewer's choice, we're just going to explore the new moon. We'll have a nice deep dive in this topic. And if I see anything here that is coming up in chat, we'll take a look at that as well. Okay? All right, let's get into it. All right, so the Celtic Cross for the new moon with the intention of possibilities, movement, change, etc. Welcome, everyone. And thank you to everyone for the well wishes. I'm going to actually chat with Maria later, so I'll let her know that everybody's sending their love. Interesting that we see right off the bat, we've got the Death card here, so that's cool. Definitely in alignment with what I was talking about. Such a beautiful deck. I love the rich colors on this one. All right. We also got the Ace of Pentacles there. Let's see. For the folks asking what decks I'm using, you can find all of those on my website, so you can click on that link earlier. This is part of the Wild Unknown. This is Tarot de St. Croix, and I can't go through each and every oracle ones, but those are the main ones. All right, so let's break this down. We're going to start with your Catalyst card. The Catalyst card allows you to connect to the possibilities. And we have the Crone card coming through this month, and this is often a card that you would associate with age, wisdom, divine feminine energy. You would think of something very maternal here. So one thing that I'm picking up on right away is that we see the crone holding on to a medallion. It almost looks like an Ace of Pentacles there, six-pointed star. I would say for many of you, you're getting that permission to do what you want to do. You've basically had the sort of like life experiences or the soul experiences necessary to set you up for this moment. So whether you are very young and you just feel very mature and connected to something, or whether you've walked along a winding path and you think, if not now, then when am I actually going to do something that truly sort of like connects me to source and makes me excited, then this is a time for that. So age and wisdom are coming through, and it could either support your sort of age and experience, or it could be belying that. It could sort of like, people would look at you and think, how can someone so young be so wise? Or how can someone be, maybe you're older and you're wise, but you have this sort of youthful energy to it. I don't get that it's actually like a crone. I get here wisdom, experience, and soul growth wanting to come through. So this card is basically saying, if you want to do it, you can do it. You've done the work. You just have to sort of embrace it and believe it yourself. At the center, we have the Death card, and this is one of my favorite Death cards, maybe tied with the one that is in the, why can't I think of it right now, this deck here, Lightseer's deck. The Lightseer's deck, we typically see someone that's just, it's like Azrael, and there's just this window through the cape, and you see like this light and a new horizon. In this one, we actually see a very happy-looking skeleton with the skeleton key, and we see it going through the portal of light. On a sort of like bony web or, again, tunnel. So the skeleton key is the most important piece there. I'll pull it close so you can see it. You could imagine that that's like the moon behind it as well. But this tells me that change is key, that you have the key to also make the necessary shift, change, or movement in your life. Sometimes we think that someone else is going to be able to do it. And sometimes it isn't until you're on your own. Maybe you're out of a relationship, or you've lost your parents, or you're out of a job, and you're sort of like looking at things from a different perspective because there isn't this bigger group that's there for you. And so now you realize, I have to take this and bring it to the next level, right? So this is basically saying, you may be afraid to make the change, but don't be, okay? Because this is more powerful than El Diablo. As we look at this card here as well, focusing on manifesting something very positive is also important here too. So whatever you see as a block, think to yourself, all right, that happened. What can I do now about shifting the focus so that we're looking at something positive, something that I can do? What can I control, basically? And I think that's going to be a lot more effective and important than sort of focusing on what hasn't worked out for you, okay? So, by the way, if anyone's asking, it's a collective reading today, every sign. I may do an elemental breakdown. That's a great question, so just hang tight. But right now we're looking really at messages for everyone because we're all under the same lunar energy at this moment. So this card is also about control. And if we look at what the Devil card is touching, it's touching Nine of Cups and Knight of Wands. The Nine of Cups can be emotions. The Knight of Wands is often about overthinking, or can sometimes be about like how you're rationalizing things. So this card is saying avoid extremes in emotion, avoid extremes in like closing down the way you're thinking, trying to control things, trying to see only one way through. So if we were to take the Devil out and just look at the positive here, this would be, like we said earlier, celebrating every little step of the journey, having some fun as you're moving through things. And if you have to have a good laugh or cry, have a good laugh or cry. It's a really medicinal thing. But just don't let that energy kind of like distract you from the larger purpose here. So the Devil card here is really about being able to stay in control of, in a large part, your emotions. And then when we're looking at contractual things that might be coming through, making sure that you're changing things for the better. There could be someone or something in your life where they're trying to get too much for too little. They may not be completely honest, or you may just be feeling, I don't have the sort of unconditional support that I need. It doesn't have to just be love. It could be support for personal growth at work, in a relationship, in life in general. So we're trying to break down the walls because the devil doesn't like that. We're cutting through all of the conditional thoughts and all of the self-deprecating thoughts and all of the sort of defeatist thoughts that might be coming through. Let that energy go to someone or something else. You don't need it. Because you have way too much to celebrate when we're looking at this. And so let's move into this now. Okay. In the deep past here, we have the Ten of Wands. And what a lovely Ten of Wands this is. It was reversed, but we definitely see that movement between past and future. And we also see, I love that we kind of see what tomorrow, the next day will look like, because the moon is starting to be a waxing crescent. So for many of us, we're going to be stepping into just starting to see things happen. When you let something go, or when you start to take something else on, the either acclimation or the grieving process takes its time. I've said this before. There's no right or wrong way to grieve something that's lost. There's no right or wrong way to approach something that's new. Our pace is different. But if you're ready to reach, then there's a lot of great stuff on the horizon. The struggle that you've been through, it just built character. It just basically has created this sort of lovely strength in you. With this card in reverse, you do not have to do this alone. When I was studying the wolf earlier this morning, it doesn't want to be a lone wolf. There's a pack energy around it. So for you, you don't have to be the lone wolf. You can delegate, you can let go of some stuff. Release ultimately is a large portion of what this card is saying. Letting it go and moving towards what we see here, reaching for the stars as well. All right, so the Nine of Cups here. Generally a good card, but it can be heightened emotions. So there could be moments where you're really, really happy or really, really sad, or it might be this month, one of those is sort of taking center stage. Whatever you can do to find some balance and support is important. One thing that I found in my own life experience is ignoring an emotion only gives it power, only kind of gets it to a point where it's gonna bubble over or boil over. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself. I had someone tell me that earlier this week, and it stuck with me, and I think it's good advice. Especially if you have other people, or you have a dog or someone depending on you. You got to make sure you're okay, so that everyone else in the chain of sort of like connection and family is going to be all right. So let's just focus on the self-care. I think that'll be important. I'm so happy to see the Ace of Pentacles here. Definitely both of these energies were coming through when I was channeling this morning. The Ace of Pentacles in reverse can sometimes be disbelief. So is there someone or something in your life that made you disbelieve your power, your capacity? If so, now in this new moon, you're going to disprove that, and you're going to say, no, I'm ready for this. I love that we see the sunflower that's normally a part of the Queen of Wands, right? So this is really about, there's a little bit of magic in this Ace of Pentacles. Again, it's mind over matter. And so if you focus on what you really are seeing and feeling, and tune out some of the extraneous criticism and nonsense that happens so often. Everybody's an expert, right, in everything. So unless you've asked for their input, you can just take it as noise sometimes, right? And focus on taking care of yourself. I think that's what's most important to manifest this month is to accept an opportunity if presented, because this normally we would see a hand kind of like accepting this Ace card. So I would say here, are you ready? Are you ready to receive? So think to yourself, I'm ready to receive love and abundance in the highest forms, or however you'd like to manifest that. If something comes to you, think to yourself, I've prepared myself for this. And even if I don't know how I'm going to do it, I'll do it. I'll figure it out. I know on a soul level that I can handle this. Sometimes we have to say those things to believe those things. So just think to yourself, I'm strong enough, and I'm ready, and I'm prepared, and I'm qualified enough for this opportunity. So let's bring it on. And I'll take it one nibble at a time. You don't have to eat the whole thing. That was the one message that I want to reiterate here. The Knight of Wands in the upright position is actually auspicious, because This tells me the movement of your thoughts will progress this month. So if you've been stuck, any of you that are writers out there who have been stuck on an idea, any of you that are trying to figure out a complex problem as well, like again, it can be an engineering problem or it can be a relationship problem. A Knight of Wands actually moves forward on a thought, progresses on a plan, and takes it to the next level. So just keep progressing. That's why I was talking about not letting the other stuff interfere. And I think as long as you do that, you'll be set up for success and you'll surprise yourself and others, something that I've been trying to kind of like keep reminding you that you're capable of. As we look at your soul right now, beautiful energy coming through with strength. She's upright, so I like that. But one of the things that we want to remind you to do is to take care of your physical and mental well-being. And there may be someone in your life that's requiring some of your help and assistance. One thing that is important with the traditional strength card, not so much this one because we see a nice elevated form where the woman and the lion are looking face to face. There's no sense of, I'm going to force you to do this, or I'm going to try to overcome your energy. What a refreshing thing that is. Again, the Lightseers deck does the same thing. There could still be some old archetypes stepping into your life. That means like your mom or your dad could be stepping in and questioning your authority. Your partner could be doing the same. There could be a friend in your life that feels like they know what's best for you. The Strength card knows how to stand up to that. It doesn't have to prove itself. You don't have to prove that you're right or wrong. My grandfather, who's passed away a long time ago in spirit, but I still remember some of what he said on my mom's side. He said one of the best things about getting old is that I don't have to prove that I'm right anymore. I just know it and I feel good and I don't waste my time and energy. And that was really good advice that I remember to this day. So sometimes you have to really assess the amount of energy it's going to take to get this out of me to try to convince this person. To what end? What is it accomplishing? Is it actually worth it? And if it isn't worth it, don't do it. There's better uses of your time and energy for sure. So take care of your strength, use it when appropriate, stand in your power when appropriate, and save yourself time when it isn't. Even though we don't necessarily, I'm taking a look here, we don't have like the 5 or 7 of swords. The Strength card has learned those lessons and she's like, I don't need that nonsense. I'm not going to try and win a battle with someone who doesn't listen, and I'm not going to deal with someone who's less than authentic. I'm just going to be strong. I'm just going to keep pushing, and that consistency is what's going to create the momentum. And like a boulder moving down the hill, watch out because I've got a lot of power, energy, and momentum, okay? We look in the environment, you have resources too. For many of you, there are people that are ready and willing to reach out to you. This is actually a fun card. We see like a disco and they're kind of dancing around the pentacles on the dance floor. It could be fun to sort of like let some people into this experience for you. Sometimes we feel like we've got to do everything solo. Again, I don't think you have to. So if someone says, hey, do you need help? Hey, do you want to talk? Hey, can I help you out with this? You say, absolutely. Or yeah, I'm open to that. Let's see where that leads, right? At least be open to a connection here, because it feels like for many of you, all of the sort of love and the energy and the support that you've given to so many people, it's coming back. And that's a really nice thing. And if it isn't, you could find a chosen family that does resonate with your energy. And I think that sometimes we underestimate how important it is to just have a friend. Brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, cousins, etc. Sometimes there can be, issues that pop up, but close friends that you choose to make and you choose to hang out with, or maybe even a family member that's distant, but then ends up being more like a mom or dad. That's the energy that matters. It's that chosen family, the ones that are truly returning on your energetic investment and vice versa. I feel like they want to come through, so let them. You could also be feeling a little tapped out because if you're doing a good job at manifesting, then you're going to be in high demand here. Because this Ace of Pentacles could be a new job or a new opportunity. There could be a lot of people wanting to kind of get some of that insight that we see with the Knight of Wands here. So you're getting tapped out. This can be community, peer, or family pressure. So do your best to navigate and say yes to what you need to say yes to and no to what you need to say no to. We have the 10 of Cups in Hopes, Fears, and Opportunities, even though it's a very sort of festive vibe on this one. I like that we have 2 10s. This is work, resources, family, and now we see love and celebration. And for many of you, just this great sort of connection, maybe that hasn't been there in a while. I don't focus too much on relationships, but if I see cards around relationships, I'll talk about it. It feels like some of you could be entering into a new partnership. Now, the only thing that's important for you first is to focus on letting go. So I was reading earlier in chat, someone had lost someone, so the grieving process can take time. The other thing that you might be trying to look at too is, I'm used to doing it all on my own. How will it be to have someone else in the picture? So sometimes it can be overwhelming to have support, especially if you've had to prove it, if you've been on your own, lacking support. But the good news is I see something worth celebrating. For some of you, it could be new love relationship. For the rest of you, I just see so much outreach and so much ability to connect. So if you were looking for a period of time in which you could launch something, announce something, or make a splash, it's looking like April would be that month. So take a look. I've done all my April readings, but this is one little cherry on top of all of those. That's why it's a bonus. And now kind of look at where you can really make a splash if you rewatch any of your sun, rising, or moon. I get a lot of questions about like what you should watch. I would say if you are well versed in your chart, you can watch any aspect of it, but sun, rising, moon, and Venus are usually the ones that I would look at. The sun is you. It's going to help you kind of navigate everything, so that's the no-brainer. The rising will help you with business and public sort of endeavors. The moon card and the Venus card, they're going to help you with, I would say the readings rather, they're going to help you with understanding the things that drive your hopes, your fears, your desires, your relationships. So there's a lot of free tools online where you can look that up. You can definitely take a look at the different aspects of your chart. Even if you just look at the Celtic cross or something like that, or some of the channel messages on some of the ancillary ones, it could help you out. So I get that question a lot, so I just thought I would answer that. Let's look at your outcome. We have the King of Cups right here. And I feel like this is almost like you're finally taking a deep breath. And maybe many of you have just been working really hard. Maybe you've just not given yourself permission to have fun or whatever, but with the King of Cups here, it's your turn. That's basically what he's telling me. It's your turn to celebrate, to receive, and to feel like you're in charge and you're powerful and you can go for this. So if you want to go back to school, if you want to say yes to a relationship, if you want to just basically follow your heart, which is a big part of the new moon, absolutely. We got the ring card here, which is also a promise or a relationship. So 10 of Cups is love. King of Cups is love. This is a promise, or this is a hand reaching out and saying, are you interested? This is, are you interested? So it could be a job, it could be a partnership, it could be a date. And if you're in an existing relationship, there could be a deepening of the relationship. So I'll look at that in a moment, but that's what I'm picking up on so far. Definitely people are a big part of the month ahead, like relationships and connecting to them. It's not just about you, your health, or your like work. This is a piece of the equation that needs to be met. So I'll look at relationships in a second and we'll see if there's some specific messages. And then after we get through all of this, we'll look at some open topics for today's very special reading. Okay? So what are we looking at now? Expanded forecast, health, wealth, love, and destiny. These are all multifaceted. Health is going to be mind, body, and spirit. Wealth can be things other than money. Love can be love with a capital L. And destiny is something you can change, but we like to look at them in their individual parts. So as we focus on the health card, we have divine timing. So if some of you haven't been given a choice, let's put it this way. You may have been pushed to make a change because maybe there was a change of your own health. I talked about a few years back where, I sustained an injury to the head, like just had a concussion or whatever, but it changed how much I could work. Like I can't burn the midnight oil and things like that, just have to take care of yourself. And so some of you may have also had an issue with your heart or any sort of thing in your body that's saying, you know what, slow down and focus on this. So the divine timing there could be, gosh, I wish I could have changed something, but it's all happening exactly how it should happen. So just follow that lead and say, all right, what can I do now? What can I do next that's going to allow me to still have a fulfilling experience without pushing myself too much? Some of you have gotten the call. I need to do this. Now is the time. If I don't do it now, when will I do it? And this card is just saying, listen to that, because divine timing was in reverse. I know I'm looking at health, but what makes you happy makes you healthy. And I feel like that's a big piece of this. You can't overlook the emotional component of it, right? So if we were to kind of focus on some messages around health, and again, if you just joined, it's for everybody. The health message right now is going to be as follows. you have to make a change. What we see here is that it's time to make a change. Let's put it that way. You hold the key to it, but some of you might be afraid of what change means. But change is necessary. Emotional sensitivity is at a higher place than it normally is for you. So the Nine of Cups reverse is saying you're processing a lot, and change, especially change, can be difficult for some of you to process. So give yourself a time, again, little bite-sized portions. You don't have to do it alone. So talk to somebody, whether it's someone that's going to give you like financial advice or if it's emotional support that you need. You are not shouldering this alone, okay? That's definitely a part of this. And focus on physical, your body. Listen to your body. If you've been putting that on the back burner because work, family, timing, COVID, etc., any number of things that could have pulled you out of being active, this card is just reminding you to prioritize it and take care of it, however that feels best for you. A standard disclaimer as I'm kind of reading through anything health related, you have to listen to yourself. Your body is going to be different than other people's bodies, so talk to a doctor and listen to yourself. I'm just giving you sort of overarching messages and advice on that. Other than that, it's okay. Everything looks pretty good here. I do see some cards of extremes with the 9 and the 10 of Cups. So if you have some celebrations coming up, don't overdo it. If you're feeling like you need to escape from something, try not to go down the route of substances or other things. You need to actually deal with the core issue. And again, for that, you need support. Overarching stuff here seems mostly emotional. I think a lot of this is a heightened emotional period. And both full and new moons are emotional times. I wouldn't say one is more or less, because sometimes we feel a lot. The full moon tends to bring like wild dreams and sometimes fears and things like that into the mix, but there can be a longing or an emptiness because we're not seeing the light as much, right? There's this sort of opening and you're wondering. But like I said in the channel messages, that's the space, that's the fertile ground in which you can plant something new. So overall, your health looks okay. The only thing that I would say here is if you're avoiding something, been putting off a doctor's appointment, you know you have something that you want to get rid of, if it's an addiction of some sort, now is the time to release those sort of habits, bad habits. Need to kind of exit out so that you can have a really good spring for those of us in the northern hemisphere, or fall in the southern. But the next season is kind of like all sitting on this foundation. So do take care of yourself. I love that we got the golden egg for wealth and we have the Ace of Pentacles up here. Both of them to me are pentacles. I look at like eggs and seeds and nuts when we're looking at sort of totems as being symbolic of an opportunity. This golden egg card is reversed, so some of you may again be questioning, do I deserve it? Can I bring this idea to fruition? Because an egg hasn't yet been hatched. So one thing that I would say with respect to the golden egg is you've got to incubate this idea a little bit. You have to put some time and energy in and wait it out. So we're so used nowadays to having kind of like instant gratification. This is saying, no, there's some investment of time and energy that are going to be a necessary component to it, right? Let's look a little bit deeper here and see what else is coming through. So for those of you that could be job seeking, with the, first of all, you're positioned well with the Strength card, but it's all friends and family here. Friends, family, and coworkers. So this would be the friends and family, this would be the coworkers or community or neighbors. So you've got a lot of resources that you can tap into and go for that. If you're in a position where people are throwing expectations at you or pushing you down a certain path, this is actually more of a message of standing up for what you truly want to do. So if someone, apparently, especially parents sometimes, but not exclusively, teachers can do it too, but they'll say, you need to stop daydreaming. You need to think of a practical, degree. Make sure that you become a doctor, lawyer, et cetera, or something like that. We need every facet of life filled, and you need to be fulfilled in what you're doing. So take what people are telling you to do or pushing you to do with a grain of salt. Weigh your sort of like advice from others against what your heart wants to do, and let the heart win out on this one. Because if you're not happy, you're not going to be as successful or as productive in it. So go after that dream, nurture it, put some time and energy into it. Good things await. If you're in a current job situation, there could be a glass ceiling. If you're going to sign a new contract, look at the fine print. If you're going to buy a house, look at the fine print. It does look like it's going to work out, but you're going to catch something that you don't like, and that's important. So take a look at the fine print. Be willing to walk away if you need to because something better can come along. In the meantime, they may actually come back and say, you know what, all right, I'm sorry, let's fix that. Just make sure everything's out in the light of day there and that you've asked any questions. There's no dumb question, right? And you don't want to regret later not asking enough. I think that's the key to that. So this is really interesting to be coming through for relationships, the groundhog spirit. So, Punxsutawney Phil, right? He kind of comes out and then you decide, really, we know there's not a lot of science behind it, but the idea is if he sees his shadow, there's, 6 more weeks of winter. So what this really has to do is about like a change of season, and it's arbitrary. This sort of thing is arbitrary. They just look at they pretend that this groundhog is whispering to them and they just say something. So sometimes a change date that we put on the calendar is arbitrary. So spring represents renewal and growth. We're very close to, and it doesn't matter if you celebrate Easter or not, but we're close to Easter, which is a time of reincarnation. It'd be like the judgment card. We're in the energy of renewal anyway in the northern hemisphere because of spring. Even in the southern, you're still seeing a change. So right now, change is happening. There's something in your head that is holding on or waiting for some sort of external signal. Maybe it's going to be the groundhog for you today because the card says let it go. But when you make the decision, that's when it happens. So if you say, I want to move, but you don't do anything to back it up, it's not going to happen. One time I had to move out of an apartment because there was unsafe materials in the walls, like asbestos and stuff. And there was construction that was going to happen. And I found something faster than I ever thought. It was like 2 or 3 weeks. My neighbors left and then they came back and they're like, oh my God, where'd you go? You can manifest something like that if you have to. When you feel like it's life or death, like I was in and out before the month was up. So it is possible to make a very rapid change. And then I thought, wow, look at that. And then there was another time where I decided to, when I moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, back to the West, I should say, but I just made a judgment call. I'm like, I'm moving and I'm going to move now and I have some work. It may not be enough, but I just have to make this happen. So sometimes you can really make a shift happen when you get behind it. So if there's something that you're trying to do, really commit to the decision, okay? This is coming up in relationships. So it could be a decision to get married, could be a decision to do something together as a partnership, like you're going to buy a house, you're going to start a business together. There could just be this feeling of like, in order for me to be happy, by the way, we see him nibbling on what looks like a little heart here instead of a nut. You have to be doing something that feeds your heart, okay? And if your partner can't get behind that, that's going to play an important role of what you're going to do, how that's going to kind of factor out. Let's look at the cards really quickly, and then we'll proceed to destiny after that, and then look at what time we have left to explore some other things today. Okay, so looking at love, we're going to break it down into 3 different areas, again, for everybody. After this, I'll do a little elemental breakdown just so you have it, just for fun. But for right now, let's focus on those of you in love, what messages are coming through. If there's not honesty, I think things could hit a bump in the road. I think one of the things that some of you might be dealing with is a feeling like you can't control something. So if you have someone in your life that's sick, it could be your partner, it could be someone on either side of your family. We can read death card as a literal sort of thing. So there could be a loss of someone or something in your life. And it's like, how can I be there? How can I make it better? So you could just be dealing with that sense of helplessness, I would say, that we sometimes go through when we're losing someone that we love. So the best that you can do in that situation, look at all the 10s we got. No 10 of swords, 10 of wands, 10 of pentacles, 10 of cups, 10 of wands in reverse. Let them share the burden with you, or you can share the burden with them if you're going through it. Talk to some other people as well. Let people support you. That's what I'm seeing if you're going through that. For those of you that are kind of just trying to sort things out, let's say there was a secret that came to light, and it is sort of like a make it or break it thing. There could have been something that someone was keeping to themselves, but usually secrets have a way of coming out. So if that happened, we have pretty positive cards here. It really depends on the partner and if they're willing to talk about it openly now. So we change over time, and things that were once taboo are not taboo. So maybe that's it. Maybe it was just the timing that wasn't right. The important thing now would be openness and honesty. So, especially if it was like a family secret or something like that, and it came to the light of day, and now you're like, yeah, but I love you, and this doesn't change everything else, or it just helps me understand you better. And I think being supportive would be key. But then I would also say, don't do it again. Like, be honest now. That energy is there. You have to be honest. You have to talk about something. If you're holding back something, you can get ahead of this. And the way that we work with tarot is oftentimes that sort of, why are we showing up if we can't sort of avoid something or change it? So I would say, if you think you should talk about something, you should. And if you've been holding back, stop. Just trust and kind of lean into that support system that you have, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. You'll feel better at the very least. All right. Ultimately, I do think things are working out in a positive trajectory here, but you need to be honest. You need to be honest about a change that you want. It's interesting that money almost invariably comes through in these readings. So be honest about finances, and be honest about anything that you're holding on to. Could be, like I said, a bad habit or addiction that's presenting itself as well. Third parties, I don't always go straight to that, but there could be someone entering into your life that's trying to get between you and the person that you love, or there could be a third party that's coming through. The Devil card is just saying, how deep is your love? How committed are you? It's not necessarily saying you're going to break up. It's a test, and you get to decide. Most of these cards are positive. So a little bit of temptation, something that needs to come out, something that needs to be said, but most of the spread's pretty good. So because this is a modifying card, I'm not that worried about the Devil energy. You can avoid it, okay? So there you go. There could also be something really cool coming in for some of you that are looking for like starting a family. The Ace of Pentacles can be pregnancy. We got a lot of celebration cards here as well, so there could be a celebration there. All right, for those of you that are single and looking for love, are you ready? I have to ask that off the bat, because with the Death card and the Devil, you could be on a rebound. You could have met someone, or you might be meeting someone with this energy as well, where you're not yet detached from whoever it was that you were with previously. So it's very much rebound, and rebound isn't a lot of fun to be with. It's not necessarily a really sort of like strong foundational way to have a relationship. So I think you need to sort out, am I ready, or is this just a date? Be honest with the other person. That'll be important too. Because if they know what they're getting into, they can't get upset with you. They may give you more time and leeway. You may have a chance to make something of this. If we get past that, some of you might have just moved, just gotten in or out of something, and you're just settling. The dust is settling. Once the dust settles, I definitely think that new energy is presenting itself to you this month. We have at least one very interested party here. We have many opportunities to go out, to be seen, to connect. And we have a couple of different energies presenting themselves. The Knight of Wands is a very confident energy, very demonstrative, not a very talkative, but a very confident, demonstrative, shows how they feel. The King of Cups is very sort of sweet, gentle, and I would say very kind energy as well. So you have some of you want that fiery energy, you can go here. If you want someone that's ready to connect and commit, 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, King of Cups, that's the one that wants to commit. So I definitely see possibilities here. You just have to sort out your emotions, your health, being honest with what you're ready for. And if you can do that, I feel like things will be all right. And if you're single and happy, some of you just moved. I mean, the 10 of Wands, the Death card, that can constitute a move. And this can be like a new house. So some of you are just settling into a new job, a new house, a new way of being. So give yourself some time to do that. Do, however, consider saying yes to some invitations, to some public functions. I think that's going to be important as well, because you're going to be able to connect and meet more. You might even get a job offer or opportunity with that. This is a very fruitful period if you're single and happy. The main thing for everybody is to let go of this energy and to embrace this energy, to turn that key. Okay? Let's look at the last card, which is Destiny. The way that I read Destiny is it's something that you can shift, you can shape. We have the Ring. And I know that a lot of you that are single and looking would be happy to see this card. Definitely shows that one of the things that you can see progress on is relationships. Some of you may be wanting commitment. Let's be sort of like clear on this card. It doesn't have to just be proposal in marriage. It can be, some of you are freelancing or contracting or in a gig type job, And maybe you've been doing it for a while, maybe a year or two, and you're thinking like, maybe I'm ready to commit to like long-term, or are they ever going to put me onto a salaried employee position? So this ring can be commitment. And some of you might have to initiate the conversation, but what I like about it is we do have the Ace of Pentacles in the crowning position. So that tells me that once you plant that seed, then they're going to think about it. Some people may be limited because you haven't gone there. So all you have to do is to release this feeling of I'm not worth it and say, I want this. Can we make this happen? Or how can we make this happen? That's an even stronger way. If you just put an additional word on there. So how can we make this happen? I'm really interested in, for those of you trying to find a job, I'm really interested in full-time employment, or I would love to be considered for this. How can we set this up so that that's a reality? Speak in the affirmative. And then kind of like that's even saying I really want this. I don't just kind of want it, sort of want it. I want this. And then let it go and see what they say. In a relationship, the same thing holds true. And it's especially important to know when to step back. So this is stating what you want. This is believing that you can get it. If the person doesn't want to give it, move on. You've got a lot of other energies out there that are much more supportive and much more capable of doing that. So you cannot force someone's hand. And that's why we see an elevated version of strength here, right? So there you go. Really beautiful, actually, new moon energy. Let's just take a glance down at everything, and then I'm going to do one big idea, because I just really like to do a big idea. And then we're going to have fun and try some different things today, because I feel like change is necessary. All right, so as we're looking at all of this here, I'm excited, and this is absolutely, we'll take El Diablo out here, but I'm really excited that the two cards that I kind of highlighted in the channel messages came through. Death and opportunity. Change, transformation, shifting, moving, and then moving into that. And a new moon is fertile ground. You have to sort of let go of something, and in that absence, allow something new to enter in. So spot on for new moon. I like it. I like the demonstrative energy with the Knight of Wands. Don't just walk the walk. I don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. Show it. Show up. Show that you're intent on it. Communication's absent from this a little bit, so I am curious about that. But the main thing that I'm focusing on here is like demonstrate, show, embody what it is that you want, and that's going to help it come to you faster. Believe it, mind, body, and spirit. If you've had some challenges, by the way, I do see a hopeful light here, literally a light at the end of the tunnel, for improvements with health and well-being. So prioritize that and do whatever you can to make that happen. And gosh, I'm just so happy to see like 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Cups, 10 of Wands. So moving out of something not so great into something great. A little bit of pressure here, but a lot of support. So I think that's great. And yes, love is possible this month. Yes, it is. And yes, reconciliation is possible, but you got to deal with the energy of the devil, which is being honest, not keeping any secrets, making sure that, there's unconditional love and acceptance there. Let's go ahead now and pull a big idea card. The big idea is one overarching sort of energy that can pull you even further into the best sort of trajectory. Welcome to the new members too, and thank you to everybody that's giving back with stickers. Again, absent of a moderator, I'll do that at the end, but I do see it and I do appreciate it. So the big idea for this month, specifically for this new moon period, we have the Page of Wands, and I love that it's almost like he's catching lightning or creating some sort of movement here in the clouds. So there's this song by Kate Bush called Cloud Busting, I think it is. And there's this, it's kind of like about the idea of being able to create a storm. So if you want to make something, you can make it happen. And that's what this is reminding me of, is that old Kate Bush song. It also reminds me of the Witcher when, Yennefer was catching lightning in a bottle, but she ended up just kind of like channeling the lightning instead. So you have this ability to kind of be an elevated magician, because magicians hold wands. So we have the Page of Wands here, and it's basically showing like, I know what I want. I know that I'm going to do this, and I'm not afraid to make it happen. I'm not afraid to change the script up a little bit. So the big idea here is if you don't see it, make it, create something. Very entrepreneurial energy, which I would normally not ascribe to a page card, but I like the illustrations on this particular deck, so it definitely it hits different. Pages need to be able to hear and also speak, so listening is going to be really important, and embodying whatever it is that you believe, okay? Because this is a very sort of like clear, I know what I want to do and I want to do it, but this card is necessary to make sure that it gets out to the masses. So you need to both move it forward, develop it, but also communicate progress. If you're working on something or trying something different, or if you're just feeling overwhelmed, let people know where you're at, okay? Great, let's do something different. Let me shuffle the cards now, or we're gonna lean into a different deck here and see what's coming through next. All right, so while I'm getting a new deck, throw out some things that all of you are going through this month and you would like me to look at. I'll take a look at what's coming through in chat and I'll try to help you out. And I'm going to, in the meantime, I'm going to pull a past, present, future oracle card, and then I'll take a look at what some of you put in the chat here. And we're going to look at what the universe kind of wants us to focus on during this particular new moon and this month ahead. And this is kind of a timeless portion. So if there's just something we need to pay attention to, I'm going to do past, present, future pull. Let me just look at the decks here that I want to work with. I'm going to use a different one that I haven't used in a while, and then we'll take a look at this. All right, so let me just grab this deck here. And let's call on the oracle cards here to look at past, present, and future influences, and anything that we need to be focusing on to be our happiest, to get out of our way, etc. All right, so we're just going to read them as upright since we got a lot of reversals. I understand that doubt can be a part of what we're going through, so we'll make sure that that's not in here. All right, so we have a rebuilding card in the past. We have the dedicated effort that I would see with like 3 or 8 of Pentacles coming through in the present. And then we have the manifestation card here coming through in the future, which is basically the Magician. And I think that this one will be what? The Tower. So this is kind of like a different version of the Tower here. This deck can actually go either way. You can just use it as Oracle, or you can connect it with Tarot. So we basically got the Tower, the 8 of Pentacles, and the Magician. So let's break them down for a moment and see what messages want to come through with that. So for the past, some of you need to hear this. You can't change what's happened. If something either tragic or fast or unexpected or unusual happened, all you're being asked to do from God, the angels, the universe, is basically roll with the punches and figure out, like, what am I going to do next? I can't go through and think, oh, if I done this, if I done this, if I done this. What happened was the universe said, you are stagnating. I'm going to help you out of this. It won't be as fun as if you had kind of like done this on your own, but it's going to be important. It has to happen quickly. So this is why I was kind of like really sitting on that energy of transformation. The Tower is a blessing, and we see the potential to rebuild, possibly with a stronger foundation, if you accept that I can't change that change is happening. I can't change what I could have done. I can only change how I accept and move forward from this. Okay? Acceptance. And now the important piece, the dedicated effort into making sure that you're making something beautiful. For those of you that have ever had something that you love, like a project on the computer crash, maybe you were writing a story or a report, or you were editing a video or anything of that nature, sometimes there's a crash and you lose several hours of work. But sometimes you can come back and do a better job because you've got some time and perspective, because you're forced to use a different technique. A lot of times the Tower is like the universe's way of just doing that little Control-Alt-Delete reset to help you clear out the memory, clear out the sort of fog, and then you can do a better job. So just do it cleaner, do it a little bit more intentional this time. And I think the most important thing that we're seeing here in this moment in time is find something where you can really surrender and feel like I get behind this. I like this. I'm getting something out of this, right? And I think all of that's going to be helpful. We had the manifestation in the High Priestess when I was looking at the channel messages. Now we actually have the Magician here. So hands-on, I see a very hands-on manifestation energy here. So same thing with the Eight of Pentacles or the dedicated effort card. So yes, this happened, but you are capable of doing all of this or more in the future. So like whatever you had, you can have that or have better or have something that's going to fulfill you in a different way. Okay. All right. Give me a moment here. I'm going to take a look at some of the questions that you've posed here. I don't normally do this especially an unmoderated one, but hopefully everyone's being kind today. So let's see. Okay. So we've got some questions about people being stuck. Let's see, which is a good question to look at. What to do next? I think those are some great questions too. And let's look at that. If someone's stuck right now, if you feel like, how do I break through? How do I break through stagnation? Let's take a look real quick at that. What is it that's holding you back or having you hold on to something? That actually is really good because it was right in the center of our spread today. The Death card crossed by the devil. So sometimes we're afraid to surrender to change. So I would say for those of you that are trying to get unstuck, guess what? We're basically getting the same card here. We got the Magician that I just pulled here. So it's the same energy. The Magician is reversed. So for some of you, you might be trying to focus on doing too much. So we're often at our most effective when we really kind of like narrow the scope a bit. So I would say one thing that you can do is to narrow the scope a bit. Why do you get stuck? Overthinking, and also sometimes worrying that there's only one way to do something. So I would say giving yourself the permission to try and go out on a limb and think it's not been done before, but maybe I can do it. Maybe this will work out. Let's just see what happens. So the wait and see could be kind of good here, because if you decide before it happened that it's not possible, which would be this, I don't believe in my power and I don't think this can happen, then it's going to be harder. Whether you're trying to find a home, manifest a new place to live, or a new job or a new relationship, if you think, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too rich, I'm too poor, I'm too X, Y, or Z, the universe is thinking, well, you're not ready yet, so I'm going to send you some tests instead, right? Let's see what else there is on that sort of just the energy of getting unstuck. Follow your heart. Just like we saw with that, what was it, the groundhog? Follow your heart. And that is, it's easy. It almost sounds kind of like cliche or trite, but it's really important. If you're not feeling it, why are you doing it? And if you feel it and really want to do it, why aren't you doing it? So it's just the higher calling from the heart chakra saying, when you really work that passion, then everything starts to happen in a really exciting way. Okay? All right, so let's see here. What else is coming through? So some great questions on visualization. I would say if you're focusing on how to visualize things, I think you want to start first with like the sky is the limit, right? And think that anything is possible. And then start to kind of think like, well, what can I do that's where I can be most effective at it? You can get practical about it, but you want to definitely start with the pie in the sky and then sort of navigate your way up to that, build the bridge to that sort of star up in the sky. All right. Helping someone heal, I think that's a great question. So for those of you that are either looking for inner healing or helping someone in your life heal, let's pull one for each and see if there's some messages around healing. So for those of you that are trying to do the healing yourself, which might be a lot of you, so let's do past, present, future on this one. So for those of you that are healing, again, there's a common thread of not needing to be alone or not being alone. But for many of you, the Three of Cups in reverse can be a chosen hermit. Like you've got invitations, you have people that want to help, you have text messages coming in, but you're not replying. So reply or put yourself out there a little bit more, because people do want to be there for you. So for some of you, there's this hermit that needs to come out of its shell. For others of you, because we're looking at healing here. So the moon is fear. I'm afraid that I'll never be able to, for some of you, maybe get back to what you were. I'm afraid of what the doctor might say. I'm afraid of talking about what's going on if you're talking to a psychologist or to a friend because of what they might think. Fear can be self-perpetuating. So if you're afraid that you can't do it and then you stop showing up and then you stop investing energy in it, you won't do it. So I would say I don't want to have the fear that, or I don't want to have regret. So I usually motivate myself by thinking I may be afraid, but I think I would be more angry at myself if I didn't try this or didn't explore this. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to see what happens. So overcoming that, we again have all of this sort of water energy coming through for today. I love that she's parting the sea here in this moon card. But you can move mountains sometimes if you just believe in yourself. So don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to try it. Educate yourself, inspire yourself, and ask for some support along the way, because other people can be motivational. The Three of Cups can be cheerleaders, basically, right? So if you're trying to get healthier, it could be someone that goes with you to the gym. If you're trying to work on some other aspect of your life, it's someone who checks in and is sort of like an accountability partner with you. So focus on that. You have support here. The other thing that I'm looking at here is overthinking or going into worst case scenarios too much. So let someone else help you out. I think that's the main thing here, is to lean on some other people so that you don't have to be afraid, so that you can overcome that. I hope that answered the question there. Let's just see if there's helping someone else in your family heal. That was what I was going to look at next. Or someone that you care about. So one of the most valuable things that you can give to someone is presence. So if you have someone who's sick, who can't talk, who is just kind of not in their best place, all you have to do is be there. Holding someone's hand, listening to someone, you could say, I have no idea how to help you through this, but I can hold your hand. I can be there with you. I can cry with you a little bit. That is going to be so important. So you're already doing more than you know just by being present, just by caring. So that's the best way that you can help someone. You can offer assistance. They may not be ready to take it. So both of these cards are basic. This is holding the space. This is the offering. They're both reversed. So I see someone in your life that is happy to have you and happy to have you in the periphery. They may not be comfortable or well versed in how to gracefully say yes and thank you and accept the sort of assistance that wants to come in. So just keep being there, and when they're ready, they'll ask. Avoid arguments and trying to kind of tell someone how to change their life or how to do something. If someone isn't mentally there just yet, it probably will just create friction. And I see the potential for love, harmony, and happiness. So I think the biggest piece of advice I could give you for someone who's healing, but maybe doing some things that aren't super healthy, or maybe they're just not ready to take on, like, talk to a counselor or something like that. Just keep holding space. Let them know that you have experience, expertise, or openness to help them with this. And that's all you have to do. They need to work through some of their pain and grief first. And everybody, like I said, processes that at a different sort of like level and a different speed. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit with that. Okay? Looking at just a general move, whether it's a move in space, like moving into a new job or moving into a new relationship, let's just see if there's any general energy around moving or movement. Well, I feel a lot better about moving in general here. For some of you, it actually feels like it's the right time. You're very much ready. I also feel like success will follow you. So for some of you, that may have been a big fish in a little pond. So let's say you worked your way through the ladders at a company or something like that, and now in order to kind of like get to the next level, you would have to try something new in a bigger place, more competition, etc. Success is part of your DNA. It's inscribed in there, and you're going to be happy and you're going to be fulfilled as long as you're doing what's right. So for those of you moving for work, I see some happy energy with that. If you're moving for love, it could also be really good too. So the most important thing is that it's what you want to do. this then just comes along for the journey. The interesting thing here is being overly critical as you make the sort of move or the journey in your life. So the King of Swords in reverse can be really a matter of feeling like it's, again, we talked about it earlier, it's taking too long, or why maybe you're also taking the critique at the new place that you're at, whether it's a new relationship that you're in. Someone says something and it's just sticking with you a little bit more. Remember what I said, that change takes time, and it's about absorbing and kind of moving with that energy in order to really make the most of it, okay? So I feel like if this isn't even just a yes, no, but it's kind of coming across as a yes, no. If you're asking, can I move, can I change, will this be okay? I get a yes from Spirit here. I see that you could be overly critical. You could be taking other people's criticism too much to heart. I think that you might be worrying about meeting all the same sort of expectations that you did before. It's a new beginning. You are a successful person. You are capable. It will follow you. Don't beat yourself up. Okay? Okay. So let me quickly look at some of the other cards here, or some of the other questions here, and see if there's anything else that we need to look at. So let's see. We've got some questions about, let's see, how to know the true you. That is the $1 million question, isn't it? How do you know who you are? Why don't we pull a card to take a look at aligning with one's soul path? How can you best align to your highest good? That's like a lofty question, but let's see if, we'll just pull a couple cards. We're going to have a conversation here with the cards. So the first thing is, what does your higher self want to say about like what to do, how to be there, how to be your higher self? Some of you are guilty, and I say guilty in a nice way. You are someone who tries to please everybody. So with the 10 of Cups in reverse, you no longer have to be everybody's hero, doing everything right. This isn't your mantle to have to carry forever. So do what you feel you need to do, not what people want you to do. That's one thing. You have to kind of like get out of that energy of, why can't you take on this role? Why can't you be someone more like this? Or someone else is doing this, why aren't you doing that? When you commit yourself to something, you have what it takes. We're just going to look at these upright because I'll read the multifaceted energies around them. So the Three of Pentacles is basically saying, I know I can do it. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. This is fun. Just apply yourself. We saw that also with the Eight of Pentacles here, dedicated effort. So it's important to have a dedicated effort in what you're doing to really see something happen. I don't know how many times I can kind of show you how much love and support you have right now in this period, but a lot of love and support is coming through. So you may have pressure, but if you succeed, the people that love you the most can't deny your success. And if they do, then it's conditional love, and it doesn't matter, because there's true unconditional love that's on the horizon. And in order to do that, you have to get through these two things. So the 10 of Cups in reverse is pressure from others to do something. The Three of Cups in reverse is seeking external validation to feel loved. And the two of these together create a codependent, or sort of like just a weird relationship that's not really built on unconditional love. What we see here is what you really want to do. So love yourself enough to walk away from that. Is there a specific skill or energy that's presenting itself for people that are soul searching right now? We have the Nine of Pentacles here in reverse. So for many of you, there could be this desire to, this is basically the get rich card, right? So some of you are just looking for something where you can really feel like, wow, I have exactly what it takes to be able to take care of myself. I would say there's a caution here to not do it just for the money, but definitely fight for equal pay, for a great opportunity. If you want to do your own business, it looks good here. This is a card of sustainability. But this definitely is the money and the independent portion. I would say at the very least, we'll take the independence piece out, which is I can take care of myself. I can do this if I want to do this. All right, so as we sort of wrap up on this one, and then I think we might be near the end. I'll look at a couple other things before we wrap up here. Maybe a blessing and a block, and then we'll do a wrap up, unless there's some more questions. But let's see. Any more advice on people that want to discover themselves and find their true path? Again, with I feel like Nine of Cups has made a frequent appearance this particular reading. So it should be so fun. Whatever it is that you want to do, there should be a sense of joy and of reverence. Like, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to kind of like sink my teeth into it. So please have some fun. I just remembered, I said I was going to do the elemental. I see we saw some folks drop off. That's their loss. For those of you that stuck around for it, we're going to do a quick pull for earth, fire, earth, air, and water, just because we can. And just to kind of look at the energy here in this moment in time, around the full moon for the next week or so. We'll have another collective reading on Sunday. This is just to see where you're at right now. And it's a sort of thank you to everybody that stuck around. All right, so let me get a different deck of cards for this. And we'll take a look. All right, we're going to start with fire signs. This is the only part of the reading today that I'm going to do all of them, and then we'll go to fire. So let's just pull the cards first, and then we'll talk about what we're seeing. But again, this is the only piece that's going to be sign specific. All right, fire, earth, air, water. Let's get this in a place where we can see them. All right, and we'll start with our fire signs. So Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. What do you have here? We have the King of Pentacles. What a beautiful King of Pentacles this is too. We've got power. It's almost like he's holding the energy of the Two of Wands right there in his lap, and he's ready to get to work. So I actually feel like all my fire signs, this is going to be a very good week when it comes to business, finances, and also finishing something that you set your mind to. King of Pentacles has the ability to really touch things, and it's like the Midas touch. Everything grows. More like a green thumb. Midas touch, I know the myth behind it, so we don't really want that. It's like a green thumb. Everything grows, and you really see this abundance. This card also rules house and home. Home improvement, sorting out any matters in the home is going to take precedence. It's a maternal card as well, so you may be spending extra energy healing any sort of relationships with your parent or with your children, depending on if you have any living. That's an energy that would be really receptive. If you're looking to make progress, though, like find a new job, get a raise, talk about money, negotiate, do your taxes, this is a really good time for all my fire signs to do that. And I look at it, and he's really the Emperor too, even though it's the King of Pentacles. So I get like Emperor energy, King of Pentacles energy, Two of Wands energy. I think that that's going to be really, really important. Okay. All right. So that was fire. Let's go ahead and move on to all my earth signs out there, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. We do have the Two of Swords in reverse here. I actually don't mind a Two of Swords reverse. It tells me clarity is coming through. On this particular card, we have decisions in the very bottom here. And a lot of times there are shades of gray, shades of meaning. Nothing's quite black and white when we have a Two of Swords. It doesn't mean that you're trapped, and it doesn't mean that there's a bad choice. It just means that it really is kind of hedging on the information that you have and what your heart leads you to decide. And for those of you that are really rough on yourself, when you're faced with Two of Swords, all you can do is your best. And then you just get to the next one and hope that it's not a Two of Swords, that it's a Two of Pentacles or an Eight of Wands. It gives you more opportunities, or Seven of Cups where you can ask some questions. But sometimes we have a Two of Swords. The Two of Swords can be a decision where, should I stay, should I go? Maybe there's a place that you're living and you love it, but for various reasons, it's just not best for finances, or if you have a family, it's not best for school or whatever. And it's sort of like, there's a sacrifice either way. If you leave, you disconnect from that group. If you stay, it's not going to be good for long-term growth. There could be a medical decision where you have to opt in or out of a surgery, and you have to weigh the options. Like, if I get this knee operated on, is it going to help or is it going to hurt? What should I do? So sometimes it's a very thin line, and you just have to go with the best sort of gut instinct that you have. For the most elevated version of the Two of Swords, it's saying, I know what I want. I'm not confused anymore. And that's what I hope it is for you. Because we can take the Two Swords, put one down and say, that's a waste of time and energy, but this isn't. And then what do you have? You have an ace. So that's what I hope that many of you are finally accomplishing there. All my earth signs is just saying, this is where I really feel the call. This is where I really feel the magnetic energy. Let's go there. Let's do this. Let's see where it leads. Okay? Don't beat yourself up. Don't forever think I should have, could have, would have, and don't vacillate forever on a decision. The time to decide is now, and you'll do the best that you can do. And that's enough. Maybe you need to hear it from me. It's enough. You did the best you could. Okay? Yeah, someone said fire's intense. I think Earth is a little intense this month too, because I think what's happening for those of you that could have Earth in the ascendant is you're trying to rationalize things that may not be perfectly rational in black and white. So you're going to have to be emotional. You're going to have to be third eye and sixth sense, kind of feeling your way through it instead. Okay? All right, now let's move on to my air signs out there. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. What's going on with you? You have the moon card. Heightened emotions, heightened sensitivity, creative energy coming through, maybe feeling overwhelmed a little bit, especially even in this new moon itself. But the cool thing with the moon card is it is a revelation sort of thing. So you're going to be able to see things from a perspective that you hadn't seen them before. Some things that seemed big will be very small. Some things you hadn't considered now take up a lot of your time and energy. But there's some clarity and some purpose and some gravity that comes with that. The moon itself is able to like pull the tides, right? So I feel like whatever is being revealed, whatever is unfolding for you right now, all in your highest good, all for the best. There is some stuff for those of you that are in relationships or even just doing some shadow work on yourself and trying to understand things, there might be some triggers that pop up this month. And I do think that just like when we saw the devil in the Celtic cross, there's an opportunity to just be really honest with yourself and really honest with others. And when we were looking at the healing message a few card spreads ago, that Four of Wands in the center is the answer here. Hold space for yourself, for others, for growth, and for healing. And if you do that, it's going to be great. But you have heightened intuition right now. Go with it. And I feel very good about the upright moon for you. Okay. Now let's go ahead and move on to my water signs out there. Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. You have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords can be, sometimes we build it up to be more than it needs to be. So we see fear here. And I talked quite a bit about fear, not giving in to fear, educating yourself, also kind of talking yourself into this idea that if I don't do this, forget about if I fail, but if I don't try this, then this is something that could haunt, bother, or weigh me down in the future, and I don't want or need that. I'm going to go forward because there's less, I'll be happier in the future knowing that at least I tried. So put a full effort into it and try. Some of you need to take better care of yourself. You may be burning the candle at both ends. So if you're stressed out, like if you're a caretaker, if you're a teacher, nurse, or anyone in a support capacity, and you're just not getting enough sleep, the Nine of Swords, sometimes the Four of Swords is really talking about that. I like to do one last thing, and I'm going to give this to my water signs as an exercise. Take a fear and turn it inside out. So some of the fears that some of you might have is, for instance, what if I'm not good enough? Well, to take that and turn it inside out, I would say, what if not only are you good enough, but you're better than they expected? What if you surpass their expectations? What would that look like? How would that feel? What if you feel like you're going to be left behind? What if someone doesn't want to, they want to make sure that you're a part of this? What if they make sure? Just basically turn them inside out and say, but what if it also works in my favor? And then go down that path. And that helps me. You can also use it in the past, like, well, I wish I would have shown up sooner for this. Well, thank goodness I showed up when I did, for whatever it was, because now healing is happening. Now progress is being made. So be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And if you're around people that are stressing you out, get the necessary distance that you need to get back into a sort of solid state. And I think that's the primary messages there. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Embrace it. Go for it. But take care of yourself. All right? Definitely some intense energy for water. But I often think that of all the swords, Nine of Swords is the least problematic. Same thing with the Two of Swords. We're just dealing with some unknowns and some stress across all the signs right now. So, take care of yourself. It's going to be all right. All right, I feel like we've looked at everything that we really needed to look at. So why don't we do a meditation, and then I'll do a final card at the end. I hope you enjoyed today's reading. It was a little bit different, gave me a chance to interact with you a little bit. And don't go away yet. We're not done. We're going to do a final card, And maybe I'll do a couple final cards. We'll see. We'll do something different today, so stick around. It'll behoove you. Before I get into that, just a couple of quick notes. Because I don't have a moderator today, and I appreciate everyone. I hope everyone was kind of cooperating, behaving, so thank you in advance. If you'd like to chat, you need to subscribe. So that's something new that I've done because I feel like it will help kind of make it more of a privilege. For those of you that would like to show some additional support, well, actually, I should say, go ahead and hit the like button as well. And that's all I need to say there. For those of you that would like to tune in across different social media, you can join me at all of these handles right here. And thank you in advance to everybody that's already given back. I saw we got a bunch of super stickers today, and just a really nice crowd. And I appreciate that. I needed that because I'm in a transitional period without the moderator. So thank you for being cooperative. I will post my schedule, like I said, in the coming days on my website. So hopefully by tomorrow I'll have everything up. You can already click on the Aries reading if you want a reminder. So before we get into the meditation, I'm going to give you a chance to basically vote on the instrument that I'll use for this. And as I'm getting ready, let me know if there's anything in particular you want some help with. I'll probably use the moon in the meditation, but while I'm doing it, type out some things in chat that you're dealing with, and I'll see if I can deal with it as I'm kind of like helping you in this and holding space. All right, so which instrument would you like me to use? I can do a singing bowl or a crystal pyramid. And while you're doing that, let me see. Here's a link to I think I did put a link to my social media too if you need that. Okay. All right, so let's get into this, and let's see. Staying focused. Let's see. Your kids looking for a home and a moving. All right, so a lot of you are focusing on manifestation. That's what I'm reading as I'm looking at this. So I'm going to do my best to help you with that, especially whatever it's new. Like, let's just focus on the new. It could be new love, new relationship, new home. So calling in something new, I feel like that's all encompassing enough. And then we'll see what I feel like pulling at the end, okay? So close your eyes now. Let's meditate together. I'd love for you just to find a safe space. I'd like to do an outside meditation for this one. So see yourself in the middle of a field where it's just the moon overhead and the canopy of stars. Imagine that it's a warm summer night and you have a blanket laid down with a pillow and you're just gazing up at the stars and at the moon. The moon, of course, is a new moon, so it's dark and you can see the outline, maybe just a little sliver of light here or there, but it's pretty hard to see. But you do see, in the absence of the moon, other things that you may have not otherwise. So all of the stars shining brilliantly in the sky, fireflies lighting up the perimeter of the sort of field that you're in. And then you also start to sense your own sort of energy, something that you may not have noticed had it been a bright night or if you'd been in street lights. So as you hold up your hand, you can see this sort of gentle energy waving around your body, maybe a couple of inches or a couple of centimeters above your skin, and just sort of kind of like water rippling, you can see the energy moving. Let's imagine some soothing colors in that energy. So maybe something beautiful like violet or purple or pink or aquamarine, bringing in the colors of spirituality, communication, higher knowledge, higher learning. Allow this to basically encircle your entire body, and then see that new moon above you, perfectly round, and this circle of light that's around your body. If there could have been a moonbeam, that's what it would be, but instead you're kind of shining your own energy out, almost like sending out a signal in the night. You can send it to the moon and back. You can send it to the edge of the sky, the edge of the firmament. You can also send out the intention. So when I manifested my little dog, one of the things that I did was kind of reach out into the universe and say, this is the kind of energy that I'm looking for. And I called to a soul. So if you want to call to an opportunity, to a soul, to something out there, put your heart into it and beam it out. See it. Maybe you could see a sigil in the sky. A sigil is just a fancy word for a symbol. So see that you're putting your own symbol out into the sky and you're saying, this is what I'm ready to call in. And something that is worthy of that, that's equal to or greater than what you're projecting out there, will answer the call and it will find you. and the synchronicity will be set up. So all you need to do as we play this instrument here, the singing bowl, is to basically focus on sending out your signal or sigil to the universe and say, I'm ready. I'm ready now more than ever to receive this or something higher, this or something better. Feel free to exceed my expectations, universe. Infuse your meditation with one last thought, which is, not only I am ready, but I am deserving of this dream, of this magical thing that I want to call into my life. You are deserving of it. All right, let's take a look at your final card. The way that the final card works is you just have to focus on something that you need clarity on. I know I didn't get a chance to answer all of the questions, and again, today I was short a moderator, so I'm doing my best to kind of like grab all of those, but this is your chance to meditate on something, and I'll tell you what I see, all right? So just focus on that, and then we'll take a look here and see if there's anything else that I missed. Okay. All right, so let's just go ahead now and see what the cards want to reveal for your final card. Seven of Swords, so interesting. All right, so we'll look at some other things here before we wrap up, but with the Seven of Swords, it was reversed. So in the upright position, it can show deception. But one thing that I love with this particular deck, and I think it was even on another deck that I was using recently on the Tarot of St. Croix, you see the little foxes coming through. You can't outfox a fox. So with this card in reverse, one thing the most important thing that I can say is be honest with yourself and demand the same honesty of others. So some of you are at a point where maybe you had kind of like been telling like white little lies to yourself sometimes, like, you know, I'll do this tomorrow, or maybe this will happen then, or whatever. The universe is coming in right now and saying, you know that the time is now. Be accountable to your goal and then just make it happen. So accountability is so important. When you are accountable, the universe is accountable, people are accountable around you. When you're not, you invite in that sort of Seven of Swords. If you're looking at a yes-no for a contract, if you're looking at yes-no for a decision, there's a little bit more work that needs to be done. I'm going to clarify the card for you to help you out with that, but the Seven of Swords usually means that I just want to see a little bit more honesty or clarification or information. So let's take a look at it. Let's clarify it. I don't always do it, but this one deserves it. So let's see what the cards reveal here. We got the two different sevens here. So Seven of Cups is really exploring all of the options, all of the different ways of looking at it. So someone around you may be trying to deny you the option to explore. They may be hiding an opportunity or a rock that needs to be turned. And so I think the best thing that you could do is to ask questions and sleep on something, a big decision. So ask questions, consider all the different alternatives, come back with a fresh perspective, and then say, let's be honest. Is this what you want, or is this going on? Or I feel like we need to talk about this. So if they've been burying things under the rug, lift the rug up and talk about all that stuff. That's the most important thing. It's just to come clear, come clean, be honest. And for many of you, the clarification is to explore all the options. So don't enter into something until you've done that. And if someone tries to deny you that, it's maybe because they're afraid that you're going to see that there's something better out there. And when you see that there's something better out there, you might have a chance to get a counteroffer, okay? So don't jump into a contract signature. Don't say yes too quickly. Make sure that if you look at something that you really dig deeply, because I feel like you might find a hidden opportunity, maybe some extra money, maybe a blessing, maybe something that you didn't want to agree to. And because we don't have any cards showing a block, I feel like you'd be able to avert that, okay? Yeah, get the dirt. Exactly. Let's wrap up with a blessing and a block. I'm doing it all out of order today, but it's just kind of like what I feel like. So today is fun and fluid because it's been a busy week for me too. All right. So I'll use a deck that I see pop up all the time, and the moon was calling to me. So we'll look at the Little Prince deck for this one. And we're going to look at the blessings and the block for the week. Nice way to close things, and then I'll say thanks to everybody that showed up today. All right, so blessings and blocks, if I can find the special card here. If not, it's okay. Let's see. Blessings and blocks, here we go. All right, this is just what it sounds like. It's going to be a chance for you to embrace something and maybe step away from something that is less than ideal. By the way, for someone who just signed a contract, don't worry about it. I'm talking about things that are coming through, new things coming through, okay? So don't worry about it. We're looking at the future, not necessarily the past. All right, so let's turn the camera down and look at blessings and blocks. Blessing is the Six of Wands. We love it. The block is the Four of Swords in reverse. Some of you are just tired and overworked, aren't you? All right, so the blessing card with the Six of Wands. Really beautiful energy with this. It's saying there are people in your life that want to see you succeed. You have the tools with which to make this happen. The only thing that I'm seeing on this one is that the time is now. The time is imminent. So we see the plane already taking off in the background. And I would say for you, get on that connecting flight. If you're ready, get on that connecting flight and make it happen because you're set up for success. You have the tools to do it. You just have to believe and you have to apply it. All right. The block for you this week is you're tired. Some of you are tired and overworked. Some of you are also maybe conflict averse. We see this little fox wisely hiding from the hunter. But for some of us, that can also indicate a power struggle with someone that might be trying to take our power, our authority, etc. And this is really saying, you know what? I'm not afraid to stand up for myself, but I need to. We're looking at the Four of Swords here. You need some rest, you need some time, you need some distance. So the Six of Swords would be distancing yourself because you're done with something. The Four of Swords is a little bit more like letting something die out. So I guess the question here is, are you truly ready, or are you just avoiding something because you're afraid of the conflict and you're hoping that it will go away? If it's the latter, then it truly is a block because you probably need to do something to either make peace with it or let them know and then let that go. There's a little bit of loose ends that need to be tied here. Don't just avoid something because it's scary. Avoid it because you're done with it and you think, I don't need to do this anymore. So cleaning up loose ends, cleaning the slate, and then most importantly, taking care of yourself. Get a good nap in, get a good night's sleep. Make sure you're eating and drinking enough. Self-care is really important. And I see people talking about vacation or holiday. Absolutely. If you don't do that, then you run yourself ragged, you run thin, and you don't want that. Okay? All right. So that, my friends, was a very different, special sort of reading today. I appreciate your flexibility and support today. Again, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. As you can see, probably for the next month or so, I'm going to require this on chat because it just helps keep the chat more sort of like organized. And thank you everybody for cooperating, as I didn't have someone here today to help out. Follow me on social media if you'd like to. Thank you for all the folks that gave back. And now I just want to give some gratitude. So give me a moment just to pull up the tab here. And normally my moderator would say thanks, but today I'm going to say thank you. So I want to welcome new members here. I'll welcome anyone that's joined over the past couple of days. So let's see, anyone that's joined or rejoined. We have, hold on a second. Of course, YouTube would ask me to verify that it's me while I'm doing this. It makes me laugh. Okay, let me see if I can get out of this. I may have an issue here because it's asking me to verify, but I can see a few here. Darkstar Alchemy, Leslie11, Dion, Kristen Raby, Darwin, I can't say the last name right now because it's covered up, but Darwin J, Elda, Dina, Ada, I think it is, Kayla, and let's see, just Jots. I think that's everybody that's brand new. Give me a second here to try to verify it's me. YouTube, you make me laugh. I'm actually doing a live stream and it's asking for verification. So if this works, it'll be okay. And if not, then we'll focus on just saying thank you later. But give me a second. Let me see here. We'll go to a different browser for this. Couple of quick notes. As I said, I'll be kicking off the new schedule this Friday, tomorrow, and it'll be at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then on this weekend, on Sunday, I'll also be doing a collective reading. And then the next week, I will be doing the same old, same old. So here we go. Thank you for your patience. So frustrating. Sometimes YouTube's trying to protect us so much that it's like, hello. A little bit frustrating, but I do want to say thank you to everyone. So give me a second here. All right. So hopefully now I can see this. And if not, there we go. Supers. Thank you for your patience. All right. So for the folks that gave back today, here we go. Thank you. All right. So we got quite a few. So I just want to send some appreciation out here. Starting with Liz Morrison. Thank you for kicking things off today. Let's see. Fistian, I think it is. Thank you as well. Alice Felice, rather. Sherry Wolf. Let's see. Can't quite pronounce it. CHX Queen, thank you very much. Yas. Conscious Candice. Michelle DePoy. Irene, thank you. Adrian Wagner, thank you. Cindy Toshik. Bella0418. Marshawn Anderson, thank you. Ella Rose. Sarah George. April Rain. Nellie D, I'm just going to say, thank you. Elizabeth Quigley. Ms. Moses. Cheryl Roth. AB. Iso Gogo, I think it is, or Eso Gogo, and Kathis L. Let's see, we also have Sammy B, Lorna Smith, Jacqueline Guy, let's see, Jules in July, and Summer. Let me see if I missed anybody. I think that's it. All right. I'm glad that I pronounced some names right. Thanks to all the new members that joined as well today. I do appreciate it. Thanks for your patience. And I can't wait to see everybody. Again, tomorrow, starting off the new month, looking at Aries. And lots of love and light. Let me know if you enjoyed today. In the meantime, wishing you a lovely day. I'm going to spend some time with my slumbering dog in the background, who is going to be ready for a walk as soon as I say that. Take care, everyone. Much love and light. Bye-bye.